So, we are back from Amelia Island Concours. And I think I'm going to start this story with a little bit of background. We're going to go back in time 10 years ago, and I'm going to give you a very brief synopsis of where we started and how we got to where we were on Sunday afternoon. 10 years ago, at the time, we had an exotic car rental car business that was very well known in the community of exotic car rentals, and we had done things with celebrities, and we had done all these really incredible activations, as you could call it, from Justin Bieber, LeBron James, all these very cool things in the press. But in the reality, the business was struggling, and you could say that personally, financially, I was struggling, and you know, we always had these issues and accidents and all these different things, and really, you know, perseverance and whatnot, tenacity. I never gave up on that business, and really was just trying to make something out of nothing. And I think it was the power of our branding that made the business bigger than what it was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And when we were doing really bad at one point, I had decided that I was going to just follow my passion, and I got bored with the new cars, and I fell in love with what I had grew up around, which was Lamborghini Diablos and Countachs and all these different cars. And one of my dream cars was a Ferrari 355 Challenge. I remember seeing it when they were new at Cavallino, and I remember seeing the famous Tommy Hilfiger car. So that was my dream one day, to own one. And in that time, 10 years ago, I found a car for $48,000 or $49,000 that needed everything. And I ended up getting a loan and buying this car, and that was my first entrance into what we can call curated. It was the first purchase that I had made myself to then potentially redo and resell. So I restored the car, I sold it, and I made a profit. And then we did it again. I did it with a few other cars. I bought a Diablo SV that had a bad Carfax. We've talked about that story. And my GM of the exotic car rental business saw what I was doing and realized there was something there. But in that process, the rental car business was doing really bad. I had a terrible business partner, and the business was basically imploding upon itself. So I did anything to survive. I pawned my watch at the time. Thank you to an incredible jeweler in Boca Raton, Matthew Green, that held it for me for a year with no interest. And I was doing anything to just survive. Now, my dream at the time, and I didn't care what it took or what I needed to make for a living, but my dream was to really take Curated to the next level and start it and get out of the rental car business. And luckily, my GM of the rental car business, we had met a great gentleman that became our first investor and partner, and we started all with one car and another car and another car and another car. And we never gave up our values, and we never gave up our vision, and we never gave up the concept of not giving up. And really, my whole life has been, to be quite frank, a series of disasters and failures after another, and I never gave up, and I just kept rolling with the punches. And Curated has been a dream come true. To be where we are today, to have followers and subscribers and passionate fans and incredible clients and great friends, and to have the ability to be buying the cars we buy today, representing the cars we represent, is completely a dream come true. So I don't want this following story to sound, I want our viewers to know that we're incredibly grateful, and that the success of this weekend is definitely humbling, and it's definitely coming from a place that there was a moment Sunday afternoon that I wanted to cry because of where we are today. So, okay, we got that out of the way. Last week, I'm going to throw my service manager, Vinny, under the bus for a second. But let's say about 15 days ago, we were finishing the Monaco Grand Prix Countach in preparation for its first unveiling in 35 years, and in preparation for the first inaugural supercar class at Amelia Island Concours. So very big thing for the car, very big thing for the current owner of the car, and obviously a very big potential venue for the company. So we're in preparation, and obviously, as you guys know, we were finishing for our F50-001, which was essentially finished. A few little details to prepare it for the Concours. And the Concours this year, this is the second largest and second most important Concours d'Elegance in the U.S. It's the first Concours d'Elegance probably in the U.S. and if not the world that has introduced supercars into these iconic, classes of all these great legends in motorsport, blah, 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 blah. So this is an important moment, and an important moment for the company, important moment for supercars in general, and I think an important moment for the next generation. So a lot riding on this, a lot at stake, and our service manager calls everyone into his office, and we were waiting for a few more parts from Italy, and due to COVID, there's been a ton of delays with parts coming from Europe. You have customs delays, you have all these different things going against us in our little microcosm of the world. And we've been pretty lucky. Sometimes parts could take a week, you could rush order, it could still take 4 days. And we rush ordered all the final parts for the Monaco Countach, things that we knew that we should do prior to putting the engine in. And we had all the time in the world, and guess what? The parts get stuck in customs. And not just like stuck for a day, we're talking, this felt like stuck indefinitely. No one from DHL would help us. They needed to talk to someone at the Lamborghini factory. The person didn't get them the paperwork in time. And these parts sat for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. I mean, we're talking about a week. And now we're like, okay, how do we get this engine back in? What are the parts that we need? So Vinny calls us into his office and says, guys, I'm so sorry, but the Monaco Countach is not going to be ready for Amelia Island. And, after everything that I've been through in my life and all of the struggles and trials and tribulations, I just don't take no for an answer anymore. And I hope that all of you out there, in whatever careers or passions you have, while certain things are impossible, I hope that you have a spirit, and maybe you learn from this story that we don't take no for an answer, and we're going to do whatever it takes possible to accomplish our goals and dreams. And, I had to sort of interject and said, listen, if anyone can move mountains, if anyone can accomplish the unachievable or the impossible, we can. I mean, we have a group of the most passionate, intelligent, hardworking individuals. I've known Vinny for over 15 years. I mean, this is a guy that I've seen go from major, Spiker corporate, Lamborghini corporate, Maserati corporate, and he does not give up. He's, hands-on guy. He's going to change a wheel on the side of the road and get the car ready and bring it to, Geneva Auto Show. He's going to do those things. And for him to feel like he's up against a wall, I mean, it was pretty scary. I'm not going to lie. But I do know we have the most incredible team, passionate guys. They're going to put their blood, sweat, and tears, as I do, into what we do. And the vision for the company is much bigger than myself, much bigger. It is truly a team effort to see everything and fulfill our dreams together. And I just said, no, we're going to figure this out. And somehow, whatever it was, the universe, serendipity, we had one of the parts we needed. The engine would need to be out of a Countach. It would actually need to be removed from the Countach to have the part, and we had a LP400S incoming that was recently had $100,000 in service work, but unfortunately the rear main seal started to leak, and that rear main seal, the only way to replace that is remove the engine. So what would normally be a complete loss leader if we had to remove the engine out of a Countach to use a part was actually something that we were planning to do anyways. So we made the executive decision. We were hoping that the car would arrive in time, and suddenly it did. But we made the executive decision that, listen, it was all hands on deck, and we were going to buy 2 new parts. These were going to come in, and now we were going to have an engine out. We were going to get this part. We were going to install it. We were going to put the other engine back in, and we were going to get this car finished for Amelia Island Concours. And we were up against now 6 or 7 days to make all of this happen. And I can't tell you and begin to tell you the stress and the fear that I was feeling inside. I mean, I couldn't sleep a few nights, but on the outside, I had to sort of be the most positive and present the most, I would say, perfect picture of, yes, this can all be accomplished, when I wasn't even sure if it could. So we jumped on this LP400S, and okay, we said, okay, we're gonna get the engine out, we're gonna get this part, we're gonna make sure we order the new part, we're gonna make sure we have the rear main seal, which ironically we had in stock for the car, so that engine's now going back in. But we were gonna make sure all these things had to happen for the other car, the engine to be finished, and we had just rebuilt this engine. So imagine valves, piston rings, gaskets, everything was gonna be perfect on this other car, and we were just missing basically one part. And the last few days, we had already had the entire project planned and scheduled out. So each day was going to be a different artisan. Kenneth Michaels, our dear friend that does all of our interior work, he was scheduled, the car was actually scheduled to go to him and to finish the headliner. The interior of the Monaco Countach was completely original, but the headliner was sagging a little bit because of age, and he sourced the correct material. But obviously the car would then go to him, he would do his work, and it would come back to us. And we had originally planned for that, and we knew we had the time. And no, now we didn't, because now we were working last minute to get the car finished. So what did I do? I made a call, and I said, I love you, brother. We're a great client, I hope, and can you please come down? Every hour is so sensitive. Flatbedding the car to you is an hour. Flatbedding the car back is an hour. The wait time, every hour at this point is critical, and we've got to get this car done. So, and in the meantime, we had artisans here and a touch-up guy and this and all of these other details that were coming together. We had our graphics guy finishing the final version of the graphics because they weren't right. And, you know, we were working on the calipers and making sure that the coloring of the calipers and all these different things to correct the final details. And it's funny because about 6 months ago, and this has been a year-long project now, the current owner of the car mentioned to me that sometime the artist has to put down his paintbrush. And, you know, he was basically referring to, okay, you know, give up at this point, or not give up, but, you know, okay, calm down. You don't have to get every detail right the way you see fit. But I really believe he was wrong in saying that, because I think all the details are correct. You know, if something's not right on a sticker, or something's not right, if it really bothers me, you know, that car is a representation of who we are. And I also believe that that car is original paint and original interior, is a preservation car, so it's also important to preserve it in the way. So you gotta make sure your vendors or your subcontractors or your other artisans, like a Kenneth Michaels, are as passionate about preserving the car, and your technicians are as passionate. So I probably drove everyone crazy. I apologize to everyone for some of my last minute, I would say, punch lists, but these are the details that are important, and these are the details that I think over time will help us excel as a small brand and growing. So it was a production line of guys on top of the car finishing, and Friday at 3 p.m., I think at this point, anybody that was at Amelia Island was already there, except for myself, Vinny, our team, and the cars. But Friday at 3 p.m., the car was finally finished. Our team did an incredible job. I was confident enough to sign off on it and say, okay, it's time to make its debut to peers, enthusiasts, fans, other Lamborghini owners and collectors, and we're good. So I jumped on the road, which we'll get to another story about my travels in a new Ferrari F8, which was, you know, all the gadgets and everything was definitely new to me, someone that loves older cars. And it was time for the car to leave. And so we arrived in Amelia. The cars arrived the next morning. We didn't even get time to get the timing right on the Countach, so the car was acting up a little bit, and those cars actually have 2 distributors, so getting the timing actually takes work. It can take a couple hours, you know, syncing everything, syncing the carbs, and it was not, we were not there yet. So we knew that the car was running, it would move on its own power, and okay, that was good enough. It would rev up, it was fine, but we weren't going to race it on any track yet, and we weren't at that point yet. So anyways, the cars arrive, and I am just very excited, very thrilled. I'm so proud of our team. And honestly, we had won at that moment. We already did the impossible, and we came to that moment. So Sunday comes, and Sunday is just a madhouse. I mean, you have, judges all over. You have, the McLaren F1 from the Revs Institute. You have a CLK GTR from a good friend of ours, Redshift, who we met over the weekend. What a great guy and a passionate guy. You've got Dirk, one of the leading BMW experts in the world, with his M1. You have Jazz with his completely restored F40 that was like jewelry. 959S from the Allegra collection. I mean, you have the best of the best supercars from around the world, if not the US, and it's just like, goat after goat after goat, a 288 GTO, and I mean all of these incredible cars, and then you have F50001 in our Monaco Grand Prix Countach. So definitely heavy competition, and you have the judges going to each car. So I was prepared, and I was a little nervous, and the judges come around, and I start talking to the judges, and I explained to them our process and our journey with this car and what we wanted to represent and present. And I realized that sometimes you feel like you maybe are speaking to deaf ears. You're talking about a car, and I could talk about these cars all day long. And I don't know if anyone cares. I mean, I think we're at 32,000 subscribers, so maybe there's 30,000 people that actually care about what I say, which is amazing. Thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like our videos. But to see these titans in their industry. One of the judges was Ralph Gilles, obviously designer of the Dodge Viper, an icon in the automotive world. Another former exec, Thomas Polinsky from BMW North America, again, major guy. Lauren Fix, an icon in the automotive community. So to see them as our judges, and to also see them enjoy the story and enjoy the history of the car and enjoy, I guess, the details of what we had done, and really appreciate the work and the passion and what had gone into the Monaco Grand Prix Countach, from understanding that the interior was original. Look at the steering wheel, look at the shift knob. We got the correct period, correct tires, and the calipers are the correct zinc color, and the Campanello stickers on the wheels, and look at the headliner material, and we didn't touch the interior besides this. And you see the way the engine is. We left the chassis in its original paint. We left all the stickers, but yes, we changed the spark plug wires, and the color's a little off, but guess what? You can't get that color spark plug wires anymore. So to go over all those details and watch their eyes light up made me feel like I had done a good job and I had represented the car properly, and it made me very proud of what we do, and it made me proud of our team. And then on to the F50001, and to talk to them about Dennis, who's an incredible caretaker and someone that's really passionate about the car and has allowed us to basically take a very original F50 that he drives and uses all the time, and let's go through all the details and make sure that the disposables are repaired, and making sure that the car is still an original car, but fixing all of the little details, and making it usable so he can continue to drive it, and he'll come back here and we'll fix details again as he uses it. So to express that to them and to see their excitement was awesome. So obviously judging is over, and we're waiting, and I had no expectations, and really amongst our class I did not think anything, or I didn't even get excited to win. I mean, honestly, when you're amongst legends like that, just to be there is winning. And I see some guys walk over, and I see a ribbon go on the F50, and I'm, whoa, this is pretty incredible. And Albert is like, oh my God, guys, there's something going on. And one of our other guys is like, oh my God. And then I see a ribbon go on the Countach. And I'm like, oh my God, we just, like, am I dreaming? Is this something, like, I don't know what's happening? And I didn't even know what was going on. And I'm asking people, what does the ribbons mean? Like, I don't even know. I'm a terrible reader. I didn't read any of the instructions or the handbook. I just showed up with the cars. But I had no idea what was going on. One of them said corporate award, which I was told by someone that superseded the class, which was Awesome, okay. And then one of them it said Amelia Award, which was also another great honor, whatever it meant at the time to me. And all I knew is that we got these pagers and we were told to wait by the cars until we were called up to the stage. Now, getting called up to the stage has to be the coolest thing ever, because the cars are all lined up and you have thousands of people around all the cars. And guess what? These incredible volunteer gentlemen come over to your car and they tell you to start it up, and you drive through the crowd and everyone's taking photos and video and all these different things. So I was excited just to do that, honestly. But I still didn't know what we were going to win. So first, the Concours gets called up, and I fought with the owner back and forth. He's like, "You drive it." I'm like, "No, you drive it. You drive it." So we ended up deciding. He jumped in the car, and we're driving it up there together. And people are just freaking out. We've got the sirens going on, and we're driving through the crowd, and he's revving it up, and people are taking photos and video and giving you the thumbs up, and people are clapping, and it's. I've never been a rock star or anything like that, but it was probably the closest feeling to being, whatever, sort of 15 minutes of fame. And my heart's just pumping. And we pull up to the main stage, and everyone's there. People are texting me, and people are calling me and saying, "Congratulations." And ends up, the Concours, in its class, was one of the runners up to Best in Class. And Best in Class, we were with a 288 GTO that was a stunning car, a CLK GTR, and a 959S, all immaculate cars. And we were one of the runners up. So, for probably political reasons now, they don't tell you if you're second or third, but we were one of those. And a complete honor to then pull up. And as we were pulling up, Max Gerardo, a famous auctioneer and a well-known dealer in the UK, is the MC, and he's a great MC, and he's talking about that today, Sunday, was actually the Monaco Grand Prix. And here we have this car that was the pace car for Monaco Grand Prix, and someone yells out, "It's actually 40 years to the day that this car was the pace car in Monaco." So this surreal moment, because you have the 50th anniversary of the Concours, you have 40 years to the day of the Monaco Grand Prix, and you have the Monaco pace car on the morning of the Monaco Grand Prix winning this award. What an accolade for Curated, what an accolade for our team, what an accolade to look back 10 years ago at someone that was taking loans and struggling, and just had this vision to be where we are today, and to have peers and people that I respect really show us love. And that is the most beautiful thing in the world. And then we drive around, and the car's popping, and he's revving it, and it's just super, super exciting. And then we're waiting, what was the F50 going to win? And it was very cool, because the judges actually came up, and they commended us on how we presented the cars. And I would say, of all the things that I've ever heard, I mean, listen, our friends and family can always say, "Oh my God, great job. Great work. You've done a great job." And you take some of those things sometimes with a grain of salt, because obviously your friends and family are going to support you no matter what. I mean, when you're 5 years old drawing a picture, that they're going to put on the fridge, everything's it's a work of art. So you take that stuff with a grain of salt. But when you have judges that are saying, "Wow, you did an incredible job with the presentation. We're impressed with your passion." I mean, I was borderline about to cry, and not just for my joy, but for the joy of the team, because I know what their vision was, and I know how hard they worked. And I think sometimes in life we need those wins, and those wins are important to keep going and to keep focusing on the next phase and growth and all these different things. So judges are telling me this, and they're like, "Hey, by the way, the F50, it was an honor. We wanted to give it a special award because you superseded the class." And I'm like, "Oh my God, like this, And so we ended up finding out F50 gets called, and the owner Dennis is like, "Here's the keys. This is your time to shine. You drive it up to the stage. I'm gonna go have lunch. This is your moment," which was a complete honor, because obviously we own our own cars and we have cars on display and different things. But really, it's his car. It's not our car. But to give us that honor, and me the honor of driving it up, was completely incredible. And so we bring the car up, and we find out that the car won the Borla Trophy. which was basically the best sounding car on the field. And to have that honor, especially for our guys here that finished the engine rebuild and finished getting the car running the right way and finished all of the aspects of the engineering side, was insane. I mean, talk about serendipity or whatever you may call it, but the universe was on our side on Sunday afternoon. I don't know if it's good karma or something, but to have that honor was completely incredible. And to be able to drive through the crowd again, feeling like some sort of rock star or something, everyone taking photos. So yeah, that's the update. I think part 2 of our journey to Amelia Island Concours, and completely flattered and completely humbled. I can't thank everyone enough for your comments and your messages. We will definitely have more on both of the cars. We'll have probably even a third part to the F50 restoration video, but this is probably one of the most special experiences of my career, the team's career, and thank you to everyone at Amelia Island Concours, and thank you to everyone that helped make this happen. I love you guys.